Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you're listening or watching, I truly appreciate you. This is brand new territory for me, you guys, and I'm so excited and a little nervous if I'm being completely honest. I'm sure it'll take a hot minute for me to get all the kinks worked out and learn the ins and outs and get comfortable with the whole podcast world. But like I said, I could not be more stoked to get started. And I'm looking forward to all the guests that I'll have on my show and learning more about their stories and sharing them with you guys and how we can all relate or not. That's okay too. And learning a little more about my story too. Which brings me to the meat of this pilot episode, if you will, which is digging into a little bit of my past and what might have shaped me into the person I am today. And also a little synopsis of what y'all can expect from my podcast going forward in general. So let's get into it, shall we? So my name is Jennifer Stanley. I was originally born Jennifer Mosley in a little town called Mobile, Alabama, down south by the bay. And my mom and dad, their names were Diane and Dean. And they divorced when I was 4 years old. My dad had an extreme gambling addiction. It took a lot away from us. I'll get into that later, maybe on a different episode. But his gambling, she could not take that any longer. So she packed me and her up, and we moved to Gardendale, Alabama, where my mother's family is from. We moved into a trailer park, and it took all she could do to work her little fingers to the bone as a beautician to provide for me and her. And so fast forward to us moving to Calera, Alabama, where I settled and have not strayed too far from since I was 13 because she remarried and that's where he lived. And so, yeah, my mom, she passed away in 2010. She had COPD. I was her caregiver on hospice for a year or two after she moved in with me. And that was really rough because I was a mama's girl. I was her only child. I was, I guess, a miracle baby, if you will, because she had had several miscarriages and almost lost me. She had me early and because of preeclampsia or whatever, the blood pressure thing. That was really, really tough for her. And so, yeah, I wish I had grown up in a kumbaya, tight-knit family with all kind of siblings and my mom and dad being happy and your typical suburban life. But, I kind of wouldn't change it for anything because a lot of things that have happened to me have shown me the imperfect life and to be, compassionate with other people. I have two brothers. One is younger by 9 years and one is older by almost the same by my dad. We all have different mothers. And I do have a relationship with my younger brother, but I don't see him very much. I don't have hardly a relationship with my older brother because him and my dad's relationship was very, very strained from a young age, and he literally has nothing to do with him. But, I understand that because my relationship with my dad has been strained many, many times throughout my life. He was MIA a lot, partly because of his gambling. He went to Gamblers Anonymous. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever you want to call it for a while. And he no longer gambles, but, when you cause trauma in a child's life, that tends to linger. So me and my dad talk. We love each other very much. I see him way more often now as an adult than I probably did a long time ago. But yeah, those memories still hold. I remember as a kid being told that we had to hide out because he owed so much money that loan sharks were threatening to run me and my mama off the road if we were seen out and about. So we had to hide out at my mama's house to stay safe for a period of time. But anywho, that is also a topic for another episode because I could go on and on and on. So yeah, my dad's still alive and my two brothers. And I have 4 children because I'm married to my husband, Joe. I love him very much. He takes care of us and our needs and wants are his top priority. I could not have been more blessed with that. He is my second marriage and I'm the luckiest girl in the world when it comes to that. But I have 4 children, like I said. I started out being a mother very, very young. I got pregnant when I was 16 because I was a wild little rebel, y'all. I was doing anything and everything because my mama couldn't keep up. I didn't have a good relationship with my stepfather, so my mom kind of allowed me to come and go as I pleased. And I made my own rules, I guess you could say. So yeah, I had my first daughter, Lexi, when I was 17. And we've kind of grown up together. We're more like sisters than mother and daughter. And then I had Jayla by my first husband, which is not Lexi's dad. I had her when I was 23. I had my son Levi when I was 29, almost 30. And I had my youngest son, Jace, when I was 35. So they're all 6 years apart. They're all very spread out. I did not have tight doorstep children, and I'm thankful for that because I have helpers built in, right? So yeah, that leads me to probably what some of y'all listening or watching might know me from, which is my TikTok, 1BadMama Jamma. And 1BadMama Jamma, if you might be wondering where I got the name, it just came to me. It really didn't have like a whole lot of meaning other than like the bad mama part. You know, I'm kind of like not your typical mom. Like we do enforce rules. We're very much a yes ma'am, no ma'am family. They have chores, they have manners, they are expected to do and know right from wrong and hold a standard for themselves. But I'm not a helicopter parent. I do not believe in forcing your own beliefs on your children. Just because you gave birth to them does not mean that they have to believe and be how you are. So I let them be their own person. I let them believe what they believe. I let them have the opinions of their own. And not a lot of parents in this world today, or just, in history in general, give their children that kind of freedom to be exactly who they are and love them for exactly who they are. And so I guess I could be viewed as a bad parent in some of those ways, but I think it's what makes me the kind of parent you should want to be, and the kind of parent that your children need from you. So yeah. And the Who's Your Daddy that people might know me from, my little skit family that I play on TikTok, is derivative from our life and my children's life and what they've been through as far as their dads and their struggles. And it's all kind of a mixed bag. None of my children perfectly mimic Dallas, Luke, Walker, and Sierra. But it's kind of like if you threw our life and things that have happened and things that we went through and the issue all together into a brown paper bag and you just shook it and then you let fall out what fell out. It's kind of a mixed bag of all of that. And I just reworked it and it's rooted in truth, but a lot of it is elaborated on for comedy purposes, right? Because I think true comedy always will stem from real life experiences, and which makes it funny and relatable. And I'm so just in awe of how many people related to that and were drawn to that and found it funny, but also found the truth in it. And I really appreciate that because I think the subjects that kind of are under the surface of my Who's Your Daddy fam are things that are not talked about and shared openly about enough. I hope to change that. I think a lot of kids, if their parents have been addicts or incarcerated at any time and they've been through all of that, it brings shame upon the family, especially the mother. Or roles can be reversed. This doesn't mean a dad versus mom thing. It can be the exact opposite. I've seen that too. But I think sometimes the kids really feel like it's their fault, or the other parent that's trying to keep things together and keep things stable feels like it's their fault, or that they can't talk about it, or that it shines a bad light on them, and that's not the case. So I hope to open up that conversation a little more and make people feel a little more normal, if there is a normal. That's another thing that I want to, kind of be open about in all of my episodes is, what is normal? Who defines normal? Normal in every culture, in every city and every subculture, whatever, is just totally different. So I cannot stand boxes. I cannot stand when we are put into boxes and we're expected to be a certain way. I would love if everybody just had the confidence to be themselves, and for everybody else to accept them for just that, for just who they are. I want that to be celebrated. And it's a shame that it's not. And a lot of people are so blinded by their own bias and their own beliefs that they feel the need to convince everybody else to be and believe who they are and how they do. And it's just so suffocating sometimes. And we need to do away with that. Why can't we just all love each other, man? I mean, that is my goal. If I can just open up one person's heart and mind and ears to a different way of thinking and be a little more compassionate for the people around them, whether they look like them, think like them, talk like them, then I feel like I will have accomplished something. So yeah. I have a heart, for kids of addicts and incarcerated parents, and I also have a heart for the LGBTQ community and the youth that are within that community. One of my daughters, my teenage daughter, came out to me as being gay 2 years ago, and it's been a journey for us. I was raised Southern Baptist in the church. My whole mother side of the family, which was rather large, is very Southern Baptist Christian. And, it's after you're indoctrinated into that belief system, it's hard to think outside the box as an adult because your mind goes right back to what you were taught in VBS, right? Well, I still believe in God, and a little disclaimer, I hope to never get extremely political or religious on my show. I think it's very divisive and it's subjective, and I think it's very personal to every individual person. So I don't think especially religion, should never be debated upon, right? But it's hard to think outside the box and be okay with things that you were taught as a kid was wrong. But I have very much been kind of deconstructing a little bit in the past few years, and I could not love my daughter anymore, and I'm glad that she felt comfortable with me enough as a parent and us as a family, in general, to relate that to us and to not hide it anymore, and to feel like she was safe and that we would still stand behind her and support her, and we have. And not only have I stood behind and supported her 100,000%, it's made me want to be more of an ally and more outspoken for the kids that don't have somebody to do that for them. She knows several kids her age. I say kids, they're almost adults, that cannot be open with their family because their family basically tells them, no, you're not. Wrap that back up, backspace, delete. That's not how our family works, and that's very, very sad. It breaks my heart for the people that know who they are inside and cannot be that in public or even with themselves sometimes. So yeah, I hope to shine a light on that and have some people from within the community that on my show that we can talk about those things and really, dive into the details of the struggles, or, the opposite side of that, the joy that comes from truly accepting who you are and opening up and being yourself. And also just, any kind of social injustice in general. I really, really, really have a heart for anyone who struggles, especially like the homeless. I volunteer. One of my really, really good friends started up a foundation that volunteers and helps support and provides for the homeless community in downtown Birmingham. And I've really, really enjoyed doing that. It brings me so much happiness to help somebody else, especially somebody that's not in a position where they can help themselves. And it doesn't matter if they put themselves in that position, whether it was a drug addiction or whatever. Sometimes the path of our life is chosen for us, and we're just floating along. And a lot of the times it's mental illness that causes them to be homeless for whatever reason. And you just got to love on them, man. You just got to just help support people that need it. That's what this world needs is just more support and more love and more open-mindedness. And I know I've rambled on here because another subject that I haven't touched on in this intro is my ADHD, and y'all will become well aware of how ADHD I am throughout any episode, because I will get tongue-tied, I will stutter on my words, I will repeat myself, I will get I'll go through a moment where I even forget what I'm talking about, and I'll just ramble, and I'm sorry, but I have so much to say, and my brain works faster than my mouth. So y'all forgive me, but I cannot wait to talk y'all's heads off, and let's just love each other, man. Like, I know I sound like a straight up hippie when I say that, but I really, at the end of the day, that is probably the word that I will use the most in any of my episodes, because I truly love y'all so much. And I really, really, really hope that this podcast will somehow, some way touch somebody's life in the future. That's the main goal. And I have talked enough, and I love you guys, and I will see you on the next episode, where it's not just going to be me running my mouth. And that's kind of why this is called One Bad Mama's Mouth, because I don't know when to shut up. I'm going to do that now. Peace out. I love you guys.